So we've had a lot of good conversations recently, and I know something that you brought up quite a bit are objections in the 21st century. When your experience is a sales leader, entrepreneur, what have you found as some of the best ways to respond to objections these days through cold calling or otherwise?
Objection handling is one of the most important parts to being a successful cold caller. And before we even talk about rebuttals, I usually like to take a step back when I'm doing training or coaching or leading a team and say, first and foremost, you have to be mentally prepared to overcome objections at least 2 times. So you need to meditate and just prepare yourself to understand that you're going to get some objections and
Hmm.
you need to rebuttal those. Secondly, I really like how a good friend of mine, his name is Kyle Kuhn, he described handling objections like this. An objection is like someone throwing an egg at your face. And if you stand firm and with your arms stretched out, you're going to have a bad time, right?
Mm.
Egg's going to smash into your hand. You're not going to move. You're not going to budge. And then the egg's going to splatter all over you. You need to cradle an objection and acknowledge the egg's speed, match the speed, and then slow it down. You really have to acknowledge that objection. If you get an objection like, I'm not interested, to match the speed and sort of cradle the objection, I usually like to lead the rebuttal with something like, it's okay that you're not interested, or I didn't think you'd be interested right now, Jim.
Mm.
Or a lot of people aren't interested at this at first glance. You're not alone. Many companies are in your position. Something like that to really cradle that objection. And then after that first part, I usually like to spark interest. Try and spark interest with something. Say they say I'm not interested. That's okay that you're not interested right now. Most people in your position are actually looking to increase their understanding around different options before they purchase. So that's that spark. Then the last section I usually teach is to make an ask at the end. And that ask is always for a booked meeting or whatever your next step should be. So one ask could be, hey, I really just want to set you up with Ryan. He's a genius when it comes to this subset of technology and how it impacts your specific type of business. And he'll come with data and won't waste your time. So it's okay, you're not interested, but why don't we set up a meeting with Ryan Thursday at 3 o'clock? So that's normally how I frame handling objections.
That's great. I love the mindset part. I think the cold call reluctance is one thing like I always forget to talk about. I just assume everyone realizes that's just a thing you work with separately when really it should be talked about a lot because it does prepare you for separating yourself from how it feels to have objections or taking these things personally. But then
Mm.
I love the way you said cradling the egg is genius because it really just kind of describes how to be empathetic in a completely different way. You're kind of repeating back, saying what they were saying, or just responding with, "Hey, I understand." And it also acts as a ledge. Jeb Blount talks about a ledge as that thing that you say as you're going to move and transition to the next part of the conversation. And it does two things. One is that it can empathize, but also helps conjure up the energy and kind of words to you're going to deliver in the next statement, spark interest, and then go from there.
It's interesting because when you say ledge, I think of something that is scripted or is standard that you always say after an objection. So as you're saying that standard thing, you can start thinking about the
Yeah.
next thing that you say and craft that to be more personalized.
How have things changed in your opinion? Have you noticed anything in the markets or maybe how we go about objections and these conversations right now versus, you know, COVID or prior?
And I'm new gen to this cold calling. I love it. My intern and I were cold calling today, and I was just getting fired up. I always love the unknown and just having conversations on the fly like that. I don't know why I'm weird, but I just fell in love with it as soon as I started doing it in 22.
And the reason I ask is like there's the classic statement you hear all the time in sales, which is I have 20 years of experience. Like, I know how to respond to this. And to me, a lot of times when I hear that, it really means the classic you have um, 1 year of experience 20 times.
Yeah.
And they're not adapting. I almost think of the word how long I've been doing this as a taboo. If I do say it, because I do say, yeah, we've been in this 7 years, what I say is it's allowed us to refine the process and improve every year. It's been 7 years of consistent improvement
Hmm.
because sales techniques and kind of the way that we have success changes as the market changes. It has nothing to do with what we want to say. Whatever was working at one time might not work. When we talk to our team and we see the data, I think these classic things about human response are going to be common, I think, have in a conversation versus changes like email. Email is used to be you could write a letter in your email. Then it was a paragraph. And now it's gone past 150 words. Now it's down to what you would do in a text message. It's not the same with calling because people talk similar. They don't talk at 2x speed. They still talk at the same speed. And building trust is really the only speed that we can focus on right now. I think we are becoming past like a post sales stigma. I think people aren't as scared of salespeople anymore. We have many people who we call now. We ask them if they're open or receive or considered this offering, and they're like, "Actually, we've been looking at this. Thank you for calling me." And we're just like, "What?" The first time we've heard that after COVID. As that relates to objections, like the things that you're saying, I think are incredible. Like the empathy, you kind of came at the prime time of empathy. I think the changes really come in maybe quickness of response, having some type of relevance to that marketplace, but needing it to be very sharp and ready when you get to those parts of the conversation, because otherwise people will hang up on you quick. They have no time.
It's got to be relevant, and I won't necessarily say personalized, but it's got to resonate with and not feels like a bland blanket statement.
You have to have something of value right then and there. So when you're responding, there has to be something that you have prepared that is going to break through the noise or just break through the negativity. You have to get that in there in order to open the conversation back up, especially in a remote world where no one wants to talk.
That's one of the reasons why I love your book, Trust Call, and your methodology, A-Stage Methods. You talk about the value prop trifecta and those three areas in which people can understand how to position their message around what you're talking about and giving that value to people.
Having that value ready, absolutely. One thing that's worked a lot recently has kind of just come to mind is educating. You might have something in place now, but I'm just trying to help educate you, understand how this could fit for when the time is right. And separating it, especially that not interested one. Well, we already have something like this, we're good. Maybe some benefit or feature. Well, this is how it's a little different, but really the whole idea is that I'm just trying to help educate you. So for when the time is right, you have the information available and you can make that decision a little bit better. So no pressure, which again speeds up the trust, which can speed up the sales process. So stay tuned for Suade H2H. The app is coming out soon. We have the Suade H2H app coming out where you can use scripts in real time and also provide coaching feedback with the AI technology that Matt's been developing. So we're using a methodology combined with AI and offering something to the market that has never been seen before.
Awesome. All right.
So, till next time.